Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Today, the topic I have chosen is in regards to the building up of computers and the troubleshooting that required when errors occurred during the computer startup. So before we start, I would like to show you how it is to turn on a computer by simply press this single button right here. This is called the power button. And when you turn it on, this is what would happen. I'll go into details explaining how the internal components work when this action is performed. Now we wait for a few seconds to let it start up. This entire sequence is called booting. And now I would like to access this slideshow for you to see how it is in details of how to build a computer. Ignore the other thing, excuse me. So let's begin. And here you could see the table of content I have laid out for you to demonstrate the things I would like to show you later on. So a brief explanation. Building is the process by which a computer hardware and software are started and prepared for use. It involves a sequence of steps that initialize the system's components, download the operating system, and make the computer ready for interaction. The installation of an operating system into a computer's RAM or main memory is the process of booting, also known as booting up, starting up, or simply booting. Users can start running apps as soon as the operating system has loaded on computers or even laptops like I'm using. You'll see the initial windows or on the Mac screen, like right here. Rebuilding the operating system will reload the OS. Therefore, sometimes users may be told to do this. On PCs, pressing the Ctrl, Alt, or Delete keys simultaneously is the most common method for restarting the systems. Now I'd like to go into the next slide. There are two types of booting, as you could see here, which are called cold boot and warm boot. As for cold boot, this is where the computer is started from a completely powered off state. Just as I have done so in the beginning, that is what we call cold boot. That is because there exists no warm in a deactivated device. As for warm boot, this involves restarting the computer without turning off the power, typically with restarting option in the OS. That is due to the fact that computer is already turned on, and therefore there will be heat coming from the battery when you restart the computer. Now we don't exactly need to show this, as I have already done so. As you can see here, just by simply pressing this button. This is all it takes to run the entire systems, the entire sequence, to boot up the computer. Now for the power on self-test. Oftentimes in Windows or OS, and particularly on computers and not laptops, users may oftentimes see this on the screen here. This is what we call post. You may be willing to read this for yourself later on. Now for the next slide. Now this is called the BIOS initialization. Oftentimes, for me at least, I would often push this button just as the computer is starting up. this is what will be shown as seen from my screenshot. So what it is essentially is the basic output and input system, which is essentially the program A is what program A computer's microprocessors uses to start a computer after it is powered on. It also manages data flow between the computer's operating system and attached devices such as the hard disk, a video adapter, and keyboard, mouse, and etc. Anything that is attached to the computer is what it is trying to say. Now for the next slide. Now we get into the potential issues, which I have laid out 3 examples that I will show you. The first and foremost are the black screens, which oftentimes would happen out of the blue. As you can see here, the black screen of death is a fatal system error displayed by some versions of Microsoft Windows after encountering a critical system error. It is the behavior that occurred when a DOS-based application failed to execute properly. It was often known to occur during connection with attempting certain operations while networking drivers were resident in the memory, which I have used a black rectangle to demonstrate what it would look like, because as we know, it is merely a black screen. And these are the factors that went into the issues, which includes all of these 4. Now, for the next one would be about the sudden error messages, which I have laid out 2 examples. Now, since this is a very volatile laptop of mine, I would not dare to risk damaging it, and thus these are from the internet, which I have found. So these are the examples of error messages that would occur should you be encountering issues regarding your devices. Examples include no boot device bound, memory management error, or even reboot and select proper boot drive device. Now this is what we call the blue screen of death. As you could see here, oftentimes it is a very fatal issue in regards to whatever goes inside computer. Now allow me to read it for you. The blue screen of death, also known as BSOD, blue screen error, blue screen, fatal error, or bug check, and officially known as a stop error, is critical error screen displayed by the Microsoft Windows operating systems. It indicates a system crash in which the operating system reaches a critical condition where it could no longer operate safely. Oftentimes, seeing or just simply witnessing this is by all means advisory to go to a professional to get it repaired as soon as possible. Now, in regards to the solutions, which I have also provided a few examples. The easiest would be to check on physical connections. As you could see here, these are the type of connections which would often be found attached to the CPU. And even so, you could see here, right now I have with me a charger connecting to my laptop to provide with ample supply of power, alongside a plug to my headphone, which I am currently wearing right now. You could read it for yourself, but I would like to also explain a bit about the multimeter, as you could see here, which is very essential to checking what is inside the computer. A digital multimeter is a versatile electronic device used to measure various electrical properties, including voltage, current, and resistance. The device displays the measurements on a digital screen, making it easy to read and understand the results accurately. And this right here is what it looks like, this device. Now for the next solutions is to simply restart a computer. Oftentimes, restarting a computer would effectively perform a factory reset to the systems and the hardware, essentially reducing it to zero for you to start up again. And which is now And now I would like to go briefly into the safe mode. Windows in safe mode, a diagnostic mode that removes all unnecessary files and drivers. Putting your computer in safe mode can assist you in troubleshooting and identifying the problem if you suspect that it is a virus or operating system issues. And this is what it would look like. Oftentimes, this is what you will have to access when restarting computer, or particularly if restarting doesn't work. Now for the next slide, which is to upgrade or reinstall the graphics drivers, which you could see right here. Right here, it will be, for example, Intel, which, if I remember correctly, which I am also using it. Well, at least something similar to it. And you could read for yourself the differences between updating or outright reinstalling it. Now for, I believe, the final one. No, this is not it. Which is the startup repair. Once again, it is essentially a wall of text befitting of me, and you could see here a screenshot of what it would look like in the screen, should you be required to open it. Now that is all from me. This is merely a conclusion, and essentially that is all that I would like to show for this video. And I would hope that this little infographics would be found useful in the future. That is all. Goodbye.